My presentation today is to show you some of the key points of my doctoral project, aspects of French modernism in 1920s. To demonstrate the goals of my research, first in a metaphoric level, I've chosen a Jean Cocteau aphorism you to read. Enough of clouds, waves, aquariums, water sprites and nocturnal scents. What we need is the music of the earth, everyday music. What is this everyday music? Isn't it so that we are interpreting the mission of art, mission of music to be something that rises us to a higher level, above the everyday and usual? That's at least the way how I was educated to think, since from my early childhood till professional level. Not until I started to prepare the alpha version of my research plan some years ago, I was facing just the opposite. Yeah, I'm among the young radical artists of 1920s French modernism. The traditional contemplative meanings for the art was suddenly interpreted as an antithesis. Everyday music is an expression by Jean Cocteau, widely accepted among the French intellectuals in 1920s. And I think it perfectly describes the aesthetic goals of French modernism: objectivity, emotional restrictedness, clarity, short tensions, to mention a few. But above all, the popular influences from streets, bars, cafes, circus, cinema, jazz, etc. Unfortunately, for some reason, this very special aesthetics of a musical era have constantly rather marginalized than institutionalized. To say it more specific, French modernism has not received the same appreciation as a musical phenomenon as the other contemporary styles in 1920s, as Impressionism or Expressionism. For these reasons, I've ended up to this particular topic, and I'm next going to point out the concrete values and the personal motivators of this doctoral project. First, artistic preferences. Considering my personal aesthetic preferences and profile as a pianist, I found it important to reflect the musical past also in the margin of pianistic tradition, especially through the perspective of 1920s neoclassical aesthetics. Second, option for a traditional musical expression. I feel responsibility to offer an optional scenario of musical expression outside the romantic-based tradition, which still today seems to be, in many cases, the leading concept and the base for classically trained musicians to build up their artistic interpretations. And third, lack of research. From my experience, the music life in Finland and abroad still needs a diverse research and artistic work between the time frame of Debussy and Boulez. That is to increase understanding, especially in the context of performing music. Concretely, my doctoral project consists of 6 concert events and the written thesis, which in this case means 3 peer-reviewed articles. In this way, I feel to have a better chance to maintain some wider discourse of my topic and to share information along the project. Moreover, characteristic for my doctoral project is that my artistic and research-based goals are inseparably connected to each other. My concert series is entitled Music for Solo Piano and Piano Chamber Music, influenced by Paris in 1920s. I have selected French, Russian and Finnish composers to include my concerts and created 5 artistic categories to to consider French modernism from different perspectives. The first concert is called The New Disorder. In this concert, I'm going to make a cross-section through the schools of modernism. The young classicism of Busoni, the variations of neoclassicism in France, and also the new pianist school. And the second concert is called Soirée avec les Six. In this concert, I'm focusing on the music of the French composer group Les Six and the music of Erik Satie. The third concert is called Neo Sonata, and it's dedicated to sonata form through a neoclassical viewpoint. Fourth concert is for popular influences and called Ragtime. And the last concert is for French modernistic music totally outside the neoclassical style, which in this case means modernism that rises from tradition, not manifesting against tradition. Before to tell you about the written thesis, I'm showing you briefly the forms of cooperation during the concert series. As I mentioned earlier, my written thesis consists of 3 articles I offer to be peer-reviewed. The main idea in the series of articles is that I move from a general view on French modernism towards a closer approach on selected issues inside the topic. In each of the articles, I'm also analyzing selected music examples from an artistic perspective. The first of articles is the biggest one and creates the base for this whole project, as well as for the concert series. It's a conceptual-based analysis and a historical cross-section of the crucial concepts inside the French modernism. After the opening article, I take a closer look to the roots of French modernism, especially on French neoclassicism, by analyzing selected writings of Jean Cocteau and Erik Satie. And finally, the third article is about the sonata form through the perspective of neoclassicism and through certain selected music examples from Stravinsky and Erik Satie. Yeah. And to finish my presentation as a real musician, I'd like to play you 1 minute short example from French modernism, of course, and this time by Arthur Honegger, one of the composers of Les Six group, and his prelude entitled as Sur le nom de Bach.